Everyone can be categorized as either a hero, ordinary, or villain, but not all heroes are great figures. And not all who appear ordinary are truly so. Consequently, not all villains are necessarily malevolent. So, what do I classify as, without a shadow of doubt? I am a villain. A group of individuals awakens, disoriented, and wondering about their location and the nature of this place. One of them tries to pacify the group, while another becomes incensed, accusing him of orchestrating their abduction. The others are taken aback. The accused, Kim Chong-suk, remains silent and merely grips his own hand, revealing himself as Kim Chong-suk, and acknowledges his own confusion. He has awakened in the same manner as the rest, thus he urges against speculation. The skepticism remains evident, as the other man doubts his words. Stumbling over his words, he introduces himself as Sung-hoon, while the girl identifies herself as Yumina. The individual with anger issues goes by the name Shin Pilseep. Suddenly, a virtual screen materializes before them. Mina inquires if everyone else sees the window labeled Quest. Kim suggests discussing the situation, inciting Shin's anger as he questions Kim's attempt at leadership. Mina intervenes, stressing the importance of understanding the situation. Shin retorts, angered by a high schooler speaking to him. Sung-hoon suggests silence and points out a broken door. As they hear slow footsteps and growls, a zombie-like figure emerges, attempting to breach the door. Panic sets in, with Shin and Mina questioning the creature's identity. The virtual screen reappears, presenting quest conditions: 1. Survival, lasting a day in the building or being the last remaining. 2. Slaughter, defeating all possessed by evil spirits. 3. Escape, finding an exit, real or not, and escaping. Sung-hoon urges calmness. Shin questions his composure, and Kim proposes barricading the door. A person resembling a zombie shatters the door and attempts to attack them. Kim strikes the zombie, knocking it back. However, his blows appear ineffective. He suggests collaborating to find a means to defeat the monster. Unbeknownst to them, they are being observed via a camera. Two individuals watch them on a screen. The elderly man remarks that they are quite unconventional. As the battle continues, the elderly man queries his companion, who began observing midway. The other explains and gestures towards Shin. He awoke earlier than the others and grasped the situation first. Despite this knowledge, he feigned unconsciousness along with the others, aware of the status and skill windows. However, he kept this knowledge to himself. The elderly man chuckles and commends him for his cunning. Kim's possession of a skill from the start is also impressive. While skills are common, rarity matters more, and his skill is exceedingly rare. Thanks to their skills, they can counteract the fear-inducing abilities of evil spirits. The elderly man is confident they will be the first to complete the tutorial. Suddenly, they are taken aback, uncertain about what they are witnessing. They find it quite shocking. Sung-hoon unexpectedly stabs Kim in the neck, causing him to bleed out. Apologizing, Sung-hoon claims there's no other way to survive. Mina is shocked and begins screaming. Sung-hoon advances towards her, his cold stare accompanied by a wooden stake. He kills her without hesitation and walks past her while bleeding out. Addressing Shin, he says the last one before killing him. The shock leaves Shin immobilized. He questions Sung-hoon about his identity before his demise. Afterward, he receives a boost in stats for tendency, ability, and intelligence, congratulating him on completing the survival, slaughter, and escape quests. Sung-hoon informs him he has been chosen as a player for the mission of the next successor of God. An individual named Jerry appears behind him, introducing himself as his supporter and explaining the place is the start room. They have been chosen by the gods to be the next successor to God. Their chances of becoming a superior god increase the longer they endure. He questions himself as he ponders on choosing a god. Jerry clarifies this is akin to games, with the notable difference that death is real. Escape means either dying or becoming a god. Jerry reassures him that resurrection is possible, granting 2 lives. He contemplates whether his 2 lives would resurrect those he killed earlier. He requests Jerry to heal his wounds. Jerry expresses surprise at his title of betrayer in the tutorial, pondering what kind of person he is. Jerry instructs him to prepare for the real test and inspect his inventory. His reward will be there, allowing him to purchase items and skills for the upcoming battle. After 3 hours of thought, he purchases only the lowest grade swordsmanship, food, and camping tools. As for skills, he chooses the shock magic book over a high-class skill. With his purchases completed, they embark on the real test. He's tasked with killing a dog, which shocks him. Completing this task would signify passing the test. Jerry taunts him, stating he's done this before, despite his hesitations. Even after killing 3 people. He wrestles with the idea that this won't change anything. After killing the dog, he feels a wave of disgust, leading to vomiting. What a paradoxical individual. And Jerry believes this is where he'll request to be sent back. He seizes his legs and asks once more. This presents a chance for him to practice before embarking on the mission. After vanquishing various creatures, goblins, lizard men, and orcs, he becomes accustomed to the sword. Jerry imparts a final piece of advice, urging him to value his life. Following the transfer of a group of people to a new area, Hung quickly seeks someone like Jerry for support. He encounters an NPC and inquires about taking on a task such as clearing out a rat infestation. The rewards aren't grand, but there's an added stat point bonus. He contemplates that amassing stats might be the optimal strategy. Opting for the rat extermination quest, he prepares to venture to another location. Soon after, he realizes he can't slay the rats due to their swift movements and an absence of instructions for canceling the quest, leaving him stuck until completion. Thankfully, he had purchased food and notices something in his inventory. He uses the lowest grade poison to poison the rats. Upon completing the quest speedily, others notice and express mild frustration. He tries to brush it off with a laugh. Another individual inquires about his rapid completion of the rat quest and asks for insights. An idea dawns on him, and he queries the other person's title, learning it's Courageous Survivor. He envisions leveraging the differing titles, his being betrayer, to his advantage. Without endorsing the rat quest, he voices his opinion, leading others to accuse him of trying to monopolize the simple tasks and label him a scammer. While the crowd rushes to undertake the rat quest, he opts for the wolf hunting task before teleporting elsewhere. The other individual proposes forming a party, but he declines before teleporting. Upon reaching another location and preparing to confront the wolves, he sets bear traps and applies poison to his dagger. As the wolves encircle him, one steps into the trap. Although it manages to escape, he evades a wolf's bite. Employing his shock skill and delivering a neck stab to finish it off. Another wolf's bite lodges the sword in the creature's neck. He drops the sword, tackles the wolf to the ground, and dispatches it with his dagger, drawing from his rat fighting experience. He successfully takes down 30 wolves solo. Upon completing the quest, he reaps basic rewards, observes his strength and stamina growth, and returns to the NPC. Inquiring about an inn's location, he's halted by the owner inquiring about money. He proves he has money and proceeds to order food. He checks his stats in his status window, noting his physical attributes surpass those of an average person, wondering if his initial growth speed is standard or influenced by his low skill rank. Coincidentally, the couple from before reappears and asks to join him, and he agrees. They introduce themselves as Lee Yonggi and Park Hyena. Lee thanks him for helping them avoid the rat quest, of which he has no knowledge. Lee proposes an information exchange for food, a deal he accepts for 100 guilds. Among the tidbits, riots have swept the city, prompting guard deployment and leading to casualties, some of whom return to life. There's also the death penalty. The revived individuals experience a stat reduction of 3 per stat, adding up to 18. Additionally, he learns about the area around the square, including mission stations, armories, restaurants, and the enigmatic class change temple. He cements their food for information arrangement, agreeing to buy them daily meals. Upon leaving, he encounters beggars. Although he tries to ignore them, a collision sparks an accusation of aggression. In contrast to his past self, he doesn't apologize, rather, he employs intimidation, reflecting his innate disposition. He proceeds to the Temple of Class Change, where he meets Philip. He queries about differences between the class in his status window and those attainable here. Philip is surprised at his 3 classes in just 2 days. Temporary classes form as he wields different weapons, with each class linked to specific abilities. Philip showcases various class options, which are based on the player's experiences. Changing class incurs a 50,000 guild cost. He ponders choosing between swordsman and righteous outlaw, considering his options for traps or poison. Opting for swordsman, his stats increase by 3. And he gains the skills Driving Steps and Unending Curiosity. Driving Steps confuses foes with unpredictable movements, while Unending Curiosity fosters a perpetual desire to learn.
After going out, he hurries to try his new skill Driving Steps. While walking, he notices some people looking at him. One is a big muscular guy and a girl that wields a dual sword. Looking at their equipment, they must be a skilled player. Suddenly some guy grabbed the girl's hand saying he wanted to talk to her. She asks him to let go of her arm if he doesn't want to lose his arm. He calls her crazy, and after he still didn't take off his arm, she cut it. The guy screams in agony, and she threatened the other guy's friend that if they want to live with one arm they should keep blocking the path. And they both ran away as fast as they can. Sung-hoon senses she's projecting an intense aura, but it doesn't affect him. The big muscular guy calls Sung-hoon and said seems like he can use his head. Sung-hoon just tries to play dumb and said what does he mean? He said judging by his clothes and sword he must play an active role in the tutorial quest, and also he just came out in the Temple of Class Change, meaning he already manages to change his class. Sung-hoon asked him what his point and thought that this is another party invite. The muscular guy said his title is leader and asked him what his title was. But he didn't answer, thinking that if he said his title was betrayer or cowardly survivor everyone will be suspicious of him. So Sung-hoon just lied and said his title is a courageous survivor, the title from Yoongi. The muscular guy introduces himself as Kang Moo-han and asked him if he wanted to join them. Sung-hoon asked him if there was any benefit to joining them. Joining them means that he will gain trustworthy teammates, financial support, and protection from a strong guy like him. Strong guy? Where? He replied. He was surprised to know that his strength is 50. Moo-han explains that when he came here, it gauges his ability in reality, so his strength was measured at a high level, and if he's smart his intelligence would be high. He thinks that even with his class changing his strength is only 20. This game is unfair, he said. He declines the offer and Moo-han said if he changes his mind, find him in Hedafa. After he immediately goes through the quest booth to find a difficult quest to raise his rewards and abilities. There he comes across the girl again, who chooses the same quest sick orc opponent. He remembers she's the same girl earlier who chops the guy's hand. The girl immediately rushes to be transported to do the quest. Sung-hoon realizes she's aware of him, and might loses his first clear bonus and immediately rushes to be transported too. After he got transported he hurries to place food in the middle of the jungle as a trap. 2 orcs came but senses something was wrong. They are suspicious and think why there is food in the middle of the forest. He hurries because if that girl has skill she will be aiming for the bonus stats as well. So he uses his skill shock to stun the other orc and the other orc is surprised. He charges to stab the orc, but he is surprised when the orc parries his attack. The orc that Jerry summoned in the start room is not even comparable with the real deal. He tries to think of other techniques that he can use, and if he can't he'll die.